in response to the announcement that was made today in Sacramento by Governor Brown and Secretary Salazar in regard to the Delta and the proposed quote-unquote solution to the Delta problem. We all have something to say. I'm Mike Thompson. I represent an area that the Delta is very important in my district, my current district, which includes the north coast of California, and a very important fishing industry, and my soon-to-be district, which is more of a Delta district. Both communities of interest are harmed if the preferred alternative that was announced by the governor and the secretary were to come to fruition. I think it was a terrible mistake to outline what it is that they prefer happen before the science is done to determine what can and should happen. This is a mistake that's been made in the past, and I think that they're revisiting that same flawed strategy that has led to a real stalemate in dealing with California's water proposals. We had an opportunity here to bring all the stakeholders to the table to work something out that met everyone's need, but instead they put forward this plan with some people not even at the table. The fishing community in my district and throughout California have just been told to go take a hike. That their interests are subordinated to those of south of Delta water interests, and it's terribly unfair. It's going to be costly, and it's most inappropriate. I've seen this movie before, and I don't think it ends any different this time. The last time that politics were put before science and good policy in regard to water decisions in California, 80,000 spawning salmon were killed in the Klamath River. It created an economic catastrophe in the fishing community on the north coast of California and the south coast of Oregon. For them to come back and to put forward a proposal to try and predetermine where we end up without all stakeholder input and without science is foolish. And I think what they've done, instead of seizing an opportunity to make some valuable progress on water issues, I think they've created quite a stir.
Well, good afternoon. I'm Jerry McNerney, and I represent quite a bit of the Delta. And I just want to say, first of all, that the people of the Delta communities have been completely shut out from the BDC process. The Delta region must have a voice before this can move forward. The agriculture is a prime economic concern in my district, and as it now exists, the BDCP will gravely harm our farmers, our communities, and our businesses. And I'm deeply disappointed that the governor chose to move forward with this plan without any input from the Delta communities. This will take valuable land away from farming. It'll cost us millions of dollars in a region that's already hard hit. It'll cost countless jobs. Moreover, it will cost the taxpayers of California at least $14 billion to complete this project. That hasn't been approved yet. The science hasn't been approved. Basically what they're saying is we're going to put this project in without understanding what the operating characteristics of this project are going to be. Trust us. Again, we've seen this before. The water exporters are trying to railroad this process so they can get the water they want without any answering to the Delta communities. This plan is completely unacceptable to myself, and we will continue to work with the Delta communities to find a solution. Now, I want to say the Delta communities have put out proposals that make sense, that will work, that will cost a lot less, and we can be on the table and be part of this discussion. Instead, what happened is that they tried to railroad this process, and again, I will continue to work within my community to find a solution that we can all live with. So, with that, I'd like to turn it over to Doris.
Thank you, Jerry. And I'm Doris Matsui from Sacramento, California. And The Bay Delta Conservation Plan announcement today by Governor Brown and Secretary Salazar just leaves us cold, because once again, Northern California has been left out of the process. It's just as if San Francisco decided to build the Golden Gate Bridge without even consulting Marin County, or France starting to dig this channel to Great Britain without consulting them. Well, you know, we cannot solve the water issues for California unless Northern and Southern California are part of the decision making. The BDC framework announced today puts a decision about how much water to commit to the water exporters, quite literally building the project first and then figuring out how much water to export south later. Just imagine, after spending $15 billion building a water project, you know there'll be tremendous pressure to maximize water delivery output. This prospect is unsettling, to say the least. As a member of Congress that represents the Sacramento region, which is home to the project's massive infrastructure, I can tell you that there are no benefits to Sacramento, only negative impacts. The 3 enormous water intakes and a 600-acre forebay will forever change the landscape of our county and will also drastically change the way the Sacramento River flows past our region. Imagine 9,000 to 15,000 cubic feet per second being sucked out of the river next to us, the Sacramento River next to Sacramento. What will be left? There have been times when the entire flow of the Sacramento River has been less than 15,000 CFS. Under the BDCP framework announced today, this would mean that the Sacramento River could be reduced to a mere trickle. Now, in addition, this plan must recognize senior water rights in Northern California, and there are no firm assurances that those will be preserved. A process in the plan that includes the stakeholders from all of California must be established in order to solve our water situation. We have a real opportunity to get this right. Let's bring all the stakeholders to the table. This current plan falls significantly short. We can do better. Now, I'm pleased to introduce to you George Miller.
Thank you. I'm Congressman George Miller from Contra Costa County in the Delta in Northern California, and the actions of the state legislature a couple of years ago in creating the guiding principles for protection of the Delta and to arrive at a sustainable water supply for the rest of the state were really the best articulation of the competing interest and the resolution of those competing interests that we've seen in a long time. And the Bay Delta Conservation Plan, in fact, has held out the best possibility for the full consideration of all of the issues that altering the operation of the Delta means to all of the various economic interests, the environmental interests, the sports fishing industries, and the water users in Southern California. And this is the best articulation of many of the scientific questions that will have to be asked before we can alter the operation of the natural operation of the Delta. But the concern here of this delegation is that there's an effort to rush the construction of this canal facility or the pipe facility, sized at a very high rate of outflows of the Delta, without going through all of the scientific inquiry that is absolutely, I believe, necessary before it could be licensed. And I'm worried that what is now starting to build is momentum to get this facility constructed overwhelms the scientific considerations that are absolutely necessary under federal law, under state law, and for the protection of one of the great delta systems in the world. This is a delta system that influence goes from the Oregon border to the mid-California coast in terms of fisheries. It's tens of thousands of jobs in Northern California that are affected by the flows in the Delta and the economy of the Delta and the results of the successful fisheries. And so the idea that somehow we would arrive at a conclusion about how that water will be diverted without laying out exactly how the full exploitation of the science and the inquiry that is necessary and the answers that are necessary so that we can in fact try and hopefully accomplish both the protection of the Delta and a sustainable water supply. But my fear is here that once again the water contractors who are going to pay under the current regime would pay for the construction of this facility are once again driving the process. And I don't think that this will be successful. As my colleagues have alluded to, when politics is overwhelmed with science, these processes have collapsed. That's why we've been at this for 50 years. And I would hope that the governor and the secretary and their departments would step back and understand that the science has to go forward before the construction can be considered. But the idea that we're going to really push the construction before that, I think, will lead to another failure and a greater destruction of the Delta. So this process should not be hurried up. It isn't just a matter of getting something done; it's getting it right, because this is really our last opportunity to provide for the restoration and the protection of the Delta and all of the environment that it supports and all of the economy that it supports in the northern part of California. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, excuse me, Jackie Spear. Hand the baton here, so remember next season.
I'm Jackie Spear. I'm a member of Congress from the 12th Congressional District, which incorporates the Bay and part of the Delta. I guess what we're all saying here is that politics should not trump science. And this rush to construction without the benefit of science is going to have irreparable harm to Northern California in particular. This is a 50-year plan that will shape the fate of California's water. It will also create an environment where there will be winners and losers if this plan moves forward without the science backing it up. And every time legislative bodies get involved in picking winners and losers, we have serious problems associated with that. So in this case, Northern California loses, the fishermen and fisherwomen lose, and there are many other Northern California businesses and agriculture that loses as well. I think that what we have here is a rush to a judgment that is not supported by the facts. And I concur with my colleagues in suggesting that it's time to go back to the drawing board. And if we don't go back to the drawing board, then we need to go to court.
Anybody got a question? No?
Any questions? Thank you very much.